right, so for this one, the PowerPoint 2, I'm really only, this is maybe my least favorite PowerPoint in this whole class, and that's really saying something, guys. So I'm gonna give you the highlights, okay? And that's the jobs. So these are several jobs that fall under health informatics. The first one that I want you to know is admissions clerk. So if you've ever been to the emergency room, or to a lesser extent, the doctor's office, those are sometimes a little bit different of a job, but definitely in the emergency room in the hospital, when you're admitted into the hospital, there's someone who asks you for all of your demographic information. You have to fill out a little thing about, your name and address and where you live, and give them your insurance card and emergency contacts and all that type of stuff. That's an admissions clerk. It's the person who admits you into the hospital. Doctor's offices have another version of this. A lot of times theirs is like a medical office assistant or a medical assistant that has been trained to work up front. But they kind of serve the same person. So they collect your personal information. They get your insurance information, which is usually just they take your card and they scan it into the computer. And again, the real admissions clerk especially work in the emergency rooms, and they give you all those intake forms, meaning they're going to intake you into the hospital system and collect all your data. So that's an admissions clerk versus a medical transcriptionist. This is what my mom did for probably 20 years. They transcribe, meaning they type the things that doctors dictate, which is every time a doctor sees you in the hospital or at the doctor's, literally anytime a doctor sees you professionally, he goes back into a little room and records what happened, basically. It'll sound like they usually start out like 27-year-old female presented today with history of edema to lower extremities times 7 days, complains of increased dyspnea upon exertion, blah, 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 like super fancy medical jargon. But they record all that. And it used to be that a person listened to those tapes and would type them, and that person was a medical transcriptionist. This job is not a great job to try to go into now, because usually, just like you can talk into your phone and it will type it for you, doctors can talk into a program now and it will type it for them. They all still have to go through a medical transcriptionist, but now medical transcriptionists just read through them and make sure there are no errors. Like, you know how sometimes you say there and it'll put the wrong there, it'll put THEIR instead of THERE. Those sorts of things can happen in the medical world as well. So a medical transcriptionist will go back and check over it now and fix the dictation, the transcription of the dictation, but there aren't a lot of them because most of the work is done by computer now. A health insurance specialist. So I know that admissions clerk took your insurance card and copied it and maybe typed some stuff in the computer, Blue Cross Blue Shield, your policy number, things like that. But your health insurance specialist is really the one filling out all the paperwork that the insurance company requires is submitted to them before the insurance company will reimburse you. So it's not just like taking a copy of your insurance card like the admissions clerk does. Their whole job is filling out these insurance forms perfectly into a T so that the insurance company will reimburse them. I'm going to show you an example of, so these people are really big at knowing diagnosis codes, your ICDs, and your procedure codes, your CPTs. This is an example, that's an example of like the insurance type of form that these people, these insurance specialists will be filling out. So again, obviously this is not as simple as just copying your insurance card like the admissions clerk does. And then the last two jobs are medical records jobs. So medical records tech is going to be the person who goes and fetches your chart whenever you have an appointment. They file stuff in the chart. They help organize the chart. They help organize all your records, whether it's online or paper. Obviously, anytime we're working with medical records, confidentiality is an issue. The sentence I want you to remember is filing patients' charts takes a lot of my time. These people put away and fetch your chart. That's it. There is no certification or anything for this. They just hire people and train them how to fetch charts versus an administrator. So again, The administrators at our school are like Avery and Husky and Pecorella. Those are higher level jobs. So these people are the managers of medical records. They are the ones coming up with the storage system, and they are involved anytime there's a legal question. Remember that the chart is what goes with you when you need to defend yourself in a legal case. So they are the ones preparing for those legal cases and getting the charts and the paperwork that are needed for that. They manage the entire department. So the sentence I want you to remember for them is, it is a large responsibility to be in charge of the hospital's information. So again, technician, just file stuff. What's that? Who's coming in today? Cool, I'll go get their chart. Administrator, I'm the boss. I'm the boss over everything. And that's it. Those are the only things I want you to know from that PowerPoint. Bye, guys.